Alright, welcome to Random Guitar Duels, where we take a bunch of guitarists' names and we put them in a big glass bowl, shake up the bowl, draw out two guitarists, and we have a battle between them to decide which one is better. We've now reached the single elimination rounds, where we're putting guitarists together that have already been through at least one, if not two matchups. So before we get started, I just want to remind everyone I have a Buy Me Coffee button up that you can use to support the site. If you've been enjoying content, you can also look below to see my PayPal address and CashApp handle. So if you could help out with a donation to the site, I'd really appreciate it. This matchup is Angus Young versus Slash. And the way this works is I'll give you a couple of points about each guitarist, and then you guys go ahead and vote in the poll or leave a comment in the section below to let me know which one you think is better. So with Angus Young, one of the first things you might want to mention about him is that he is a rootsy player, in the sense that he borrows a lot from Chuck Berry, B.B. King, old blues players, but he brings this into the heavy rock format in a way that most people wouldn't recognize the origin of his riffs. You'd say, well, why is this important? It's important because this is one of the reasons why AC/DC is such a powerful and an enduring band, is because they are rooted in the basics of what makes heavy music, what makes blues music, and what makes rock and roll work from the very bones right on up. And Angus Young, being a polished lead guitarist, you wouldn't think of him as being from the bones on up. You think of him as the face of the band, as the exciting surface of the band, but his playing is so rooted deeply into the roots of popular R&B music and rock and roll that he really is a foundational player, even though he's the lead guitarist. The second thing I'd say about him is that, like B.B. King, or like a player like even Eric Clapton, he has an expressive guitar. The guitar speaks. He's not just a shredder. When he's playing a solo, the guitar is singing. It's telling a story. When he takes a long solo break live, particularly in the old 70s clips, he's literally talking to the audience with his guitar. And I don't think that there are very many guitarists that can really pull that off. I think that's an excellent thing. And the third thing, of course, is that everything he plays is infectious, memorable, hooky, and exciting. There's no dullness. He doesn't play a dull note in his career. And heavy rock can be simple in its chord structure and in its scales on a technical level. It's very hard to keep people interested in it. It's very hard to make it exciting. And I believe he could do it alone in a room with an amplifier and a guitar. Alright, so with Slash, let's move on. Slash is a hopelessly romantic player. He is a player who makes his Les Paul cry. Dangerous, sinister, Jimmy Page, Deal with the Devil Down at the Crossroads image. Those two things go together really well. So before you ever hear him play a note, if you just see him stand on stage with the top hat and the guitar, he's got an image. An image is an important thing, particularly when you're talking about rock and roll lead guitar players. Image he has down, and I think that without the image that Slash cultivated for himself, way less people would comment on his overall playing. Second thing I would say about him is he has a great ear for melody, and I urge everyone who's a Slash fan or a Guns N' Roses fan to go back and listen to some of the southern rock bands like Lynyrd Skynyrd, and even more importantly, Rosington Collins Band, to see how important Gary Rosington really was to Slash's overall sound, because it's just that hint of that southern romantic expressiveness that is in Slash's LA based playing that gives him a unique character. And I think that his incorporation of the southern rock guitar flavor into an LA-based metal glam band is worthy of comment, and it's definitely an important part of his playing. The third thing that I would say is that he is able to get the most out of a standard pentatonic scale than just about any other guitarist in the post-80s world. And a neoclassical movement came along in metal after Randy Rhoads. It had always been there, going back to Blackmore and everything, but after Randy came along, it really hit. And by the time you got thrash metal movement almost all the soloing was being done on neoclassical perspective, on a neoclassical basis. It was no longer rooted in the blues. Well, Slash brought the blues back into the forefront of the heavy rock thing with Guns N' Roses, and he's good at it. It's not just that he was someone who brought it back and revived it, it's that he mastered it. So he's a master of the heavy rock blues guitarist. I wouldn't say blues, I would say blues rock. All right, so those are my 3 points for each guitarist, and now the important part comes when you tell me what you think by commenting below and voting in the poll. Also remember to like and subscribe. Thanks a lot.